So, if you've spent literally any amount of time on the internet lately, you've undoubtedly been bombarded by ads for virtual private networks, or VPNs. I mean, these companies sponsor absolutely everything, right? And they're always promising this magical warm blanket of total digital security. But if you read the comments or listen to certain corners of the tech world, there's a pretty loud, growing counter-narrative saying that VPNs are actually completely useless. So, what's the truth? In this explainer, we're going to find out if we're all just being sold digital snake oil or if a VPN is actually an essential modern utility.
Okay, let's dive into this, because today we're going on a totally objective, myth-busting quest for the actual facts about virtual private networks. We're going to break down the technical data, look right past all that aggressive marketing, and figure out exactly what happens to your information the moment you click that connect button.
All right, let's hit myth number 1. HTTPS makes VPNs totally obsolete.
Let's start with the biggest technical argument out there, that modern HTTPS encryption already protects your traffic, which supposedly makes a VPN completely redundant. So think of hackers, or even your own internet service provider, your ISP, as having a really good nose for sniffing out your data. Now, when you visit a standard unsecured site, they can sniff out everything, your passwords, your credit cards, the whole deal. But when you use HTTPS, which thankfully most sites do today, it encrypts your payload. You've essentially given that hacker a stuffy nose for the actual contents of your data. But here's the catch. Even with HTTPS protecting the payload, your ISP or a hacker can still see all your metadata. Using basic network sniffing tools like Wireshark, they can see exactly which websites you're visiting. They know you just went to a specific educational site, for instance, and exactly how many times you've been there in the last hour. And they use this to build a highly detailed profile on you. But when you fire up a VPN, you form an encrypted tunnel. You're no longer going directly to the website, your traffic routes through the VPN's network first. Suddenly, all that metadata, your web traffic, your DNS queries, the background apps running on your computer, is locked tight in a protocol like WireGuard. At that point, your ISP just sees a connection to a random VPN server and literally nothing else.
Moving right along to myth number 2, VPNs just steal your data instead.
Now, you might be thinking, if we hide all of our traffic from our ISP and hackers by routing it through a VPN, doesn't the VPN company just get to see the whole shebang instead? Aren't they just stealing your data? Well, the short answer is, yeah, they could, because a VPN doesn't magically eliminate risk from the internet. What a VPN actually does is facilitate what we call a trust shift. You are taking the trust you normally place in your local internet service provider, who, by the way, is legally allowed to track and sell your data in a lot of regions, and you are actively transferring that trust to a third-party VPN company. You're literally just changing the hands that route your traffic.
And this brilliantly illustrates why you can't just pick any random provider. Because dishonest companies definitely exist, a VPN is only as good as its verifiability. If you're going to shift your trust, you need a strict objective checklist. Drawing from the source materials example of NordVPN, we can clearly see what a highly verified provider looks like. First up, they undergo independent third-party no-logs audits. This means an outside security firm has literally verified they are not keeping a record of your browsing history. And in NordVPN's case, they've passed 6 of these. Second, they use RAM-based servers. This is absolutely crucial because RAM is volatile memory. There are literally no physical hard drives for law enforcement to seize. And third, jurisdiction matters so much. Operating out of a place like Panama, for example, means the company isn't subject to mandatory data retention laws. By law, they literally do not have to store your logs.
Okay, myth number 3, the invisibility cloak.
So, let's say you found a trustworthy provider. That brings us to this incredibly heavily fueled marketing illusion of the invisibility cloak. It's this idea that toggling that VPN switch magically turns you into a digital ghost, completely untrackable online, kind of like a Harry Potter invisibility cloak. Well, I hate to break it to you, but we are not at Hogwarts. The reality here is that your IP address, which is the main thing a VPN actually hides, only accounts for about 5% of how you are actually tracked online. Seriously, let that sink in for a second. Hiding your IP address is only 5% of the battle.
See, even if you are sitting safely behind a state-of-the-art encrypted tunnel, the modern internet uses something called browser fingerprinting to figure out exactly who you are. If you're logged into Google, well, those cookies are following you everywhere. But even if you aren't logged in, websites look at your specific screen resolution, the unique combination of fonts you have installed on your machine, and the specific browser extensions you run. You combine all of that together, and it creates a digital fingerprint that is uniquely you. So websites don't even need your IP address to track you with terrifying accuracy.
Which brings us to myth number 4, magic hacker protection.
Building on that false sense of invincibility, is this really dangerous assumption that a VPN physically repels hackers. People think that having a tunnel active means cartoon hackers in dark hoodies just can't touch your computer. And this could not be further from the truth. A basic VPN tunnel is just a secure pipe. That's it. But the tunnel's job ends the exact millisecond your traffic leaves it, or more commonly, the second you, the user, click the wrong link. The danger online is almost never someone breaking into your encrypted tunnel. The real danger is human error. It's falling for a clever phishing email, typing your credit card details into a fake shopping site, or accidentally downloading malware that's disguised as extra RAM. A basic VPN does absolutely zero to stop any of that.
However, to actually deliver on their marketing promises, the industry kinda had to evolve. Modern providers are rarely just VPNs anymore. They've essentially transformed into all-in-one digital security applications. Now they bundle in next-generation antivirus tools, URL cleaners that actively block you from visiting known malicious sites, and scanners that alert you if your active session cookies pop up for sale on the dark web. So while the VPN tunnel itself isn't stopping the hacker, the bundled software suite surrounding it actually does patch a lot of those human vulnerabilities.
All right, let's pivot to the reality. What do VPNs actually do? So, if they don't make us invisible ghosts, and the tunnel alone isn't stopping malware, what are the actual practical realities of using a VPN today? Let's separate the hype from the facts here. While a VPN will never make you 100% invisible, it absolutely does change the network you appear to be on, which hides your physical location. And while it won't make you completely hacker-proof, hiding that physical location makes it an incredibly potent anti-harassment tool. If a bad actor can only see your VPN's IP address, they can't launch a targeted DDoS attack on your home network. And much more importantly, it prevents incredibly dangerous physical world harassment like swatting. And lastly, while it doesn't give you complete, absolute anonymity, it definitely allows you to geo-unblock content. By appearing to be on a completely different network, you can bypass regional blocks. That means you can seamlessly watch your home country's streaming shows, even if you're sitting in a hotel room over in Japan.
Now, quick caveat here when it comes to geo-unblocking. A lot of streaming services aggressively try to block shared VPN IP addresses. To get around this annoying hurdle, providers now offer dedicated IPs, which is an address that only you use. This totally solves the headache of those endless prove you're human CAPTCHA pop-ups. But you have to understand the trade-off. Because that dedicated IP is tied exclusively back to your specific user account and your email, it does reduce your absolute anonymity. It's really a balance between convenience and ultimate privacy.
Reality check, part 2, the event-driven tool. Considering all of this, does a normal, everyday person, someone just scrolling through Facebook or reading the news, really need to have a VPN running 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? Well, the answer isn't just a simple yes or no. For most average users, a VPN is best understood as an event-driven tool. You probably don't need it when you're just watching YouTube on your secure home network, but there are specific triggers where you absolutely need one. You need it when you're connecting to a sketchy, unencrypted hotel or airport Wi-Fi. You need it when you're traveling abroad and suddenly hit a digital border wall. Or you might need it in response to sudden regulatory shifts, like, for example, when the UK rolls out strict age verification laws in 2025. Tools that can suddenly shift your digital location become highly relevant overnight.
So, let's get to the final verdict. Scam or essential?
So, the crucial point is this. Where does this leave us in the grand debate? Ultimately, a VPN is not a magic blanket that cures all your digital ills. It simply changes the network you appear to be on. It is an excellent, mathematically sound tool for hiding your metadata from your local ISP, and it successfully shifts your trust to a verifiable third party. It protects your physical location, and modern suites even bundle in some genuinely great security tools. But at the end of the day, it requires good cyber hygiene and a real understanding of its limitations for it to be truly effective.
Which leaves us with a pretty important question. Now that you know that HTTPS protects your passwords, but leaves your browsing habits and metadata wide open for your local ISP to log and profile, take a hard look at your own daily internet habits. Is your current online behavior exposing metadata that you'd honestly rather keep private? Or are you truly secure enough without